Welcome to today's GSTC webinar on the Balkan Advantage, Not Developed but Preserved. My name is Tiffany Chan, GSTC Destinations Coordinator, and I'll be moderating today's session. Before we get started, I'd like to mention a few housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and available to watch on the GSTC website. We will have time for a Q&A and Ask Us Anything type session at the end of the presentation. You're welcome to post your questions at any time throughout the webinar using the Q&A feature. Those questions will be answered after the presentation. We do ask that you specify which speaker you are addressing, if possible and relevant. If you have a question during the presentation where you want to gain further insight or understanding, you may raise your hand using the Zoom feature, and we will unmute you so you can ask your question directly at that time. Lastly, there will be a lot of great content and information shared with you today. The presentation will become available after the webinar, and we will share it as a PDF with all participants through email. All right, so with that, I think we can get started. Kirsty, would you mind just going to the next slide? Perfect. So our speakers today bring in decades of experience in tourism management and marketing at all levels, as well as international consulting. What you see here are their own organizations located in Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, Albania, and North Macedonia. Green product and adventure travel development, education, and destination management have brought them together over the years. So natural next step has been to cooperate more closely on the topic that is common to all, dedication to sustainability. To start us off, we have Kirsty Hivarinen from Hiva Coaching and Consulting, Montenegro. Over to you, Kirsty.
Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. Thanks, everybody, for joining, and thank you, colleagues, for supporting this webinar. So let's look at first our location. If not every one of you is exactly knowledgeable about the Balkans, and then also about the image of the Balkans, and we will produce it together with you guys. So, but first, agenda for today, some introductions, and then we will talk about the reasons to act actually globally, regionally, locally, why we have found together to this cooperation and initiative. The goals and our approach will be explained, and then we will explain also along real experience examples how we work and who we work with, and you are welcome to ask us anything along those examples. So like Tiffany said, just type them into the chat and we'll collect them at the end. So our location, where we are this year is actually here in these countries, from Slovenia through to North Macedonia, and we are open to further cooperation with the rest of the Balkans, certainly, but didn't start with a big bunch of people, but the people who found together the way Tiffany explained. This map source will be also a hot link, so it is a very good source looking at the Balkans from different angles, because sometimes this country is in and that country is not. So just for understanding, I recommend to visit that link as well. But now let's talk about the image of the Balkans, and here is your participation requested. You can take the QR code with your mobile phone, or just go to slido.com and enter with GSTC, and we will see what comes to your mind as the very first word description of the Balkans. So let's go. And my colleagues are forbidden to type in anything because that'll be biased. Okay, let's see. This is integrated Slido. So we got 3 participants so far. It's complicated. Wild and free, yes. Mystic. Yeah, I love it. What else? What was the first word that came to your mind? Don't copy others. No? Culture. Yeah, definitely. Very diverse. Yes. Wars. There are still like this historical, not so long history, unfortunately, image of the places not being safe. But when people have been here, they feel so laid back and happy. So if that image needs to be changed, I'm not sure. We do this questioning a couple of times and people come up with really positive images, especially if they have been in the Balkans. Hospitality, definitely. Yes, big one. Okay, you can continue typing. 1 more minute. Let's see what comes to your mind, if there is anything more. Otherwise, we will move forward. This questioning is open. 1 participant is typing, 2 participants. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. And if you are from this region and are not quite sure about the English word, write it in your language. We can understand your language. Beautiful place. Yes, green, wild and free, and that is also the subtitle of our presentation today. Maybe not developed or perceived as developed, but preserved, and that has a value. Okay, we will share this result also with you with the presentation. But now we are coming to Terena. She's located in Albania, in Elbasan, and she will be explaining a little bit the reasons to act globally, which means globally and locally. Terena, go ahead.
Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Trina Cardwell. I'm from Spimblnest in Elbasan, Albania. And so, yes, of course, globally is the new abbreviation for, the sort of old adage to think globally, act locally. But I would say that the next step to that is then to also think globally again. So when you come up with solutions locally to your issues, make sure that you understand the trade-offs and the larger implications of those to your to the global situation, and also to your neighbors. And I think that's one of the reasons, many reasons, that we all decided to work together, was that we all wanted to act locally, but we wanted to coordinate and synergize in a way that would have a bigger impact regionally. If we're all individually in our own place doing our own thing, we might be doing the same thing, but we might all be inventing the same small wheel when we could have all been working together to build a cart. So, so that's why one of the many reasons we got together to work and cooperate as a group to be able to have a bigger impact. Of course, the challenges, the challenges that we're all addressing and facing right now. Some of the, and the flag, yes. So when the image was obviously made before the war and those impacts, but all of these things are impacting how we live. All these things are challenges that we're facing. And for the most part, most of these big waves coming at us are also the result of our own human activity. So these tsunamis aren't just unavoidable. We caused them. We didn't understand maybe at the time what we were creating, and now they're coming back to us, and we have to deal with them, and we have to deal with them at the same time. And then this is Kirsi's favorite quote, and it's in all the local languages here. But yes, the village is burning and grandma's combing her hair. It is very easy for many people to sort of be short-sighted and see only the things that directly impact them. So that's one of the things you have to overcome when you're trying to make change, is to get people on board to understand that if everybody participates, or the things that you do locally do actually have a bigger impact on those around you. And we are all responsible. Yes, we are. So, you've heard that saying that, which has been misattributed to Chief Seattle and other people. We're not really sure where it comes from, but it says we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children, which I think is a great saying that illustrates, the truth. We don't know what the future holds, so we have to be, we have to be focused. Reasons to act, B2B, B2C. Guests don't choose sustainable destinations, they expect them to be sustainable. This is true. An increasing number of travelers, for example, they don't even look for the little note anymore. They expect that if they hang their towel in the bathroom, it's not going to be taken, it's not going to be washed. They just expect that's the default, when if that trend first started, it was revolutionary and economical, and and great for saving water, but now it's just, people don't even think about it. They just expect, if I want it washed, I'll put it on the floor. If I don't, I won't. We also want to start rethinking how we measure tourism. A lot of people measure success by like the number of overnights or the total number of arrivals, but we got to think about quality versus quantity. And I think this chart illustrates that very clearly. If you look at the actual amount of revenue that stays in the local economy and the number of jobs created per $100,000, mass cruise tourism is nothing compared to small group adventure travel. So, you have to think about the quality of you don't necessarily need as many people to really support your local economy and to have less of a negative impact if you're attracting the visitors that fit your location best. And that slide with the details will be in there. And then of course, EU Green Deal. So because the Western Balkans in particular, this is very important because we have these economic and social relationships with the EU that we're trying to maintain and to grow, and we're trying to, if we want to achieve, some of the countries want to achieve membership in the EU, or at least greater, stronger relationships and partnerships with the neighbors that surround us on all sides, then we kind of need to meet their standards. That sort of soft power that they have to sort of influence how we do things. So we need to look at what the EU Green Deal is requesting and demanding, and try to match that by meeting the same standards. And that's where GSTC comes in. So monitoring implementation, these criteria is part of the deal in tourism, and we can't ignore that or push it off to the side for later. We need to start thinking about that now. Tourism is a growing, especially since the end of the pandemic, the rebound, but it is a growing contributor to GDP and employment in all of the Western Balkan countries. Montenegro is currently in the lead with the 30 and 31%, but Albania and some of the other countries are close on their heels with how much tourism is growing and how much tourism is influencing employment and GDP. So it's definitely a sector that that we're at a very critical stage at, and we need to make sure that as we move forward the right way. And then finally, you always have to consider, whenever you're making a decision of what to do, to think about what happens if you do nothing, or if if you're reckless in your decisions. We can't continue to allow things like plastics to just run amok. That'll not just destroy tourism, but the livelihoods of all the people in the destinations throughout the Balkans. So now I hand this over to Snezana, I just gave you the why, she's going to give you the how.
Hi, hello everyone, and thanks, Terena. I'm going to start giving the how, but I think it's the second half of the presentation. Our presentation is really the one that focuses on what and how we're doing. Before we delve into the exact examples, just a very brief reminder over what we are, why we want to do this and what we are trying to do. I do not intend on going explanation of the sustainability in tourism, because I think with our audience, especially coming through to us through the GSTC, this is really a well-known topic already. But just a small reminder that our goal is, as Kirsty mentioned at the very beginning, that we are overall, with slight exclusion of Slovenia, a destination that is not particularly perceived as developed. However, with an immense amount of potential, and it is very important that we grab this potential and lead it in the right way. However, it is also very important, especially having the environment that we do, is to be aware that this is a process, not just a quick fix and not a project. That what we aim to do is create a healthy space for all, and that would be all our visitors, but also our local communities and local people living in the area. That what we are looking is not only a success, but also that what we are doing now is still going to leave us a healthy space in 5, 10, 20, 50 years of time. And with that, just a reminder that this is something that is a circular, basically, path. That from analyzing where we are, it is important to ask the right questions to make sure that we have the right indicators, and that we measure those indicators and review them and adjust our interventions on the ground. So with that, brief reminder. just to note that overall the region has been, let's say, active within the GSTC efforts. Since 2019, all the criteria have been translated into the local languages. And we will, in the second half of the presentation, also indicate, you know, the parts we have taken it further in our countries and also in the region overall. With this, Kirsty, just to kind of highlight that, you know, one of the values that we find is very important is to cooperate. And it is not only to cooperate, I mean, obviously every country and every destination within itself, but also for us as a region to cooperate. And with this, I will pass on to Jana.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Snezana, and hello to everybody on this call. I'm happy to see that it's growing and that you are all interested in this very interesting topic. So how do we actually move from everything what Kirsi, Terina, and Snezana said? We formed the idea of this Balkan Green initiative, which is connecting the countries which were already mentioned before and partners in each of those countries. So this was set in the beginning. In September, we had our formal inauguration, let's say so, in the Global Green Destination Day in the Athens. This picture is taken from that meeting. And what is interesting is that we signed a deal with the Green Destination organization, which is the owner of the Green Destination Standard and a Good Travel Program. So we signed an agreement that Balkan Green is representing green destination in the Balkan regions, and all the partners who are part of the Balkan Green initiative are also representatives of the green destination within their countries. So these are also for you the contact points in case you are interested in cooperation also on that subject. So the deal was signed, and from there on we are moving forward. What is our goal and approach? Why did we join forces? One of the reasons, as we already was mentioned before by Snezana, is bringing in development cooperation. We believe that together we are much stronger, that we can learn from each other. This is one thing which actually I would say works within the group of the Balkan Green. But of course, that is not the main, that is not the only, I would say, goal, but the very important or the main goal is that how we can help destinations and businesses within this region to improve on their sustainability. Either that goes from information, education, or support. It's also about the evaluation and certification through the international standards. It's about developing a green program, and through that, of course, creating new job opportunities and rural development. So we believe that this region should act together, as there is no border but there still are, unfortunately. But we proved that we can work together and that we are a group of people who actually share same values, and believed that through cooperation and knowledge, we can support the region on staying preserved, but also develop in the right way. So there is a number of projects which we are already being involved in, and one of them is Sustur, a project through which we are educating and supporting SMEs within the region. And it's an important, of course, approach on how to bring the knowledge and the understanding, but also how to move, especially for small companies like tour operators, into the certification of the Travel Life certificate. If you go further. Okay, so another project where Balkan Green is playing a role is Transdinarica cycle route, which is now in the phase of development. It's a biking route connecting all the countries within the Western Balkans. It's connecting 6 countries and creating a route which is going to connect all those countries. Interesting points of interest, national parks, UNESCO sites, villages, and all different points of interest. So the road is created as a backbone cycling trail to the Westerns and connecting the region through culture and through different offer along the way. So the role of the Balkan Green in this project is to provide training and certification for sustainability and quality for destinations and businesses. So this is where we will jump in and help and to make sure that the products which are going to be developed along this cycling route are also going to be sustainable, and the providers and destinations are going to follow the same path and the same vision of sustainable and quality development. So this is in short how the route is at the moment on the virtual site, and it is 2,600 kilometers long, and with additional extensions has a elevation of 53,000, almost 54,000 meters of elevation. So it is it's going to be a very attractive route connecting the region, and through which we can, of course, connect closely to all the businesses along the way and make sure that they all are actually on the same. But now I will just really shortly explain about the Slovenia and the Slovenia Slovenian approach of how we tackle sustainable tourism. And our experiences. We developed a green scheme of Slovenian tourism, which is a national program for development, sustainable tourism. It's also a certification program, and it goes from creating certification and development, and like everything when it comes from educating our destinations and businesses to certification and evaluation and supporting them with different tools. And building on that, we are trying to create a community around those certified destinations through developing green offer, which then has an added value to the tourists. Because one thing, and I think this is a question to all more or less businesses and destinations along the way, is where is also the marketing value in sustainability? And we know that this is a hard question to tackle. So our Slovenia Green, it's really done as a simple development program, which is based on international standards, using green destination standard for, can you move forward, Kirsi? Green destination standard for destinations, and for private sector, we are using existing certifications, just building on that and giving, for example, if you're a hotel wanting to have a Slovenia Green accommodation label, you would go for one of the existing certificates which are listed there, and on top of that you would get Slovenia Green accommodation. So it's like we are not inventing the wheel, but using the existing certification programs, which we find them much more useful. We were already using this approach and helping other destinations, for example, also in Bosnia and Herzegovina, building the same or the similar, let's say, approach. So for now, I would say that in Slovenia, we were very successful with that. These are the numbers of certified destinations and businesses, but maybe more would say that if I say that 90% of all overnights in Slovenia already happens in certified destinations. So that means that on tourism side, destination, Slovenia, on the destination level, it's more or less covered when it comes to development of sustainable tourism. Can you just move forward? So yeah, okay, this is what I just said. 90% of arrivals is already happening. But what is important here is that also national support, it's quite strong. There is a lot of incentives, both from ministry and from Slovenian Tourist Board, and additional programs are being introduced. Also, financial support is being offered to our businesses to make sure that they also go for certification, and some costs can be covered through that. And one thing which I just want to mention, as I said maybe at the beginning also, is that I believe very strongly that just developing and just supporting destinations and businesses to become more sustainable, it's not enough. That we need to also develop a value for the tourist. That means that we need to create green offer. So one of the approaches how we do that, and I think it's a very nice and successful, is developing Slovenia Green routes, which are actually biking routes through Slovenia, connecting certified destinations and businesses. And this is actually bringing a lot of also, I would say, immediate attraction, because it's an approach which creates an interest, which creates a value for the visitors in the way that I can actually go and visit destinations, experience sustainability within the country, and really understand what that is all about. So the good thing about this is that if I just maybe refer to the Transdinarica biking tour, as I mentioned before, yeah, we connected Slovenia Green certified destinations into the route and are now promoting and booking those trips around Slovenia. In the Transdinarica product, and with the cooperation with Balkan Green, this is a little bit vice versa. So that means we create a tour, we create a route, and we are inviting destinations and businesses along the route to become more sustainable. If you want to be part of the game, part of the project, you need to play along as well. So these are like incentives also, and the way how to make it and push it forward. Yes, and maybe just, I think there's just one more slide. Yeah, as I said, a lot of media attention was given to this product in the last year. We had 10,000 people downloading the GPS of this Slovenia Green biking tours. It was in Slovenia, Slovenian and international media, and the product got on the list of the top products for the National Geographic of 2023. So that means if you have a really coherent product connecting sustainability and making it sure how you put it on the market with the good story behind, there is a big market for that. And I think this is something what through the Balkan Green we can build in the region together. And it's very important because it will be very hard, always it is very hard to have destinations and businesses on board if they don't see also the value of what does that mean regarding me on the market and attracting visitors. So here I am giving the floor further, I think, to you, Kirsi, right?
Yes.
So we are moving to Montenegro.
Thanks, Jana. So everybody, you understand why we have Slovenia as our partner here in this group and as our global leader, sparring partner in all these issues. I pick up the thought of no borders. There is much more that connects these countries than what divides them. And me coming from Scandinavia, from Finland, I know what it means when there are no borders in the minds of people and also between the countries, when you can go into a national park in one country and come out in the other and nobody's stopping you. And there is just, benefits for everyone. So we are a little bit trailblazers with this thought. I'll give very shortly an experience example from Montenegro. Montenegro had its first GSTC presentation already back in 2010. So now over 10 years later, here we are. And actually since this month of January 2023, the ministry has become a member of GSTC. So you see, development takes sometimes a bit longer, and it is only a start. A membership in GSTC is a great thing to have, but we have to move things in the locations, in the destinations, with the businesses, together with everybody. And Montenegro, having its constitution, the words, it is an ecological state, needs to keep its promise. And with all those reasons to act that Terena explained, that is just the way to go. No question about it. Since 2020, we have been working with TVAT on the destination management side, and pretty Quickly, the destination management organization, the Tivat tourism organization, led by Danica Banjevic, understood that tourism organization is not responsible for everything. But what does it take? The trees grow bottom up. They don't care about strategies given you top down unless there is a good connection, like in the Slovenia case there is. But who are the roots? And those are the roots that we are working with. They are all local people, because the development of sustainable tourism is, in the first place, development of the life quality of the local people. So you need to get them on board. And this green team thinking was started in Tivat. It is a model from other destinations as well, where all the stakeholders, private, public, civil society organizations, young people, older people come together and start thinking about, okay, what do we want? Why do we want tourism? What kind of tourism do we want? And how do we measure our success in now and in future, like Snezana explained. So the green team is set up between all those departments of the municipality, coordinated by the tourism organization, and it is an open breathing approach. So not everybody has to be in every meeting every time, but depending on the topic, you get together maybe with the businesses, or maybe just with the NGOs, or all together, or the schools, or whoever has the will and interest to work together. So this openness and coming out of our daily work silos is really a key. And the framing given by a tourism development strategy and also the other national levels regarding communication, it's also super important. So as an example of a result of this work, the former salt pan of Tivatska Solila, it looked like this 10 years ago. It was a garbage dump. It had become a garbage dump and a wild hunting area, but together with the organization managing this area later on, the Morsko Dobro, the coastal area management organization and NGO CERTSIP, it turned to a beauty spot, and actually also won the good practice story category, nature and ecotourism, in the top 100 good practice stories 2020. Thanks to the great engagement of the management and people working there. Alexandra Ivanovic was the one who wrote this story, and it is not just a story, it is a success story measured, but for example, by the number of bird species coming there. They have grown radically, and that is a work which is good for the place and the people. The second story is a sweet and small one. It is called Transformative. These used to be these boring gray electric cabinets, and they were turned into pieces of art and a kind of a walking tour, which you can find even on Google Maps, with local artists. And so not every good practice story must be a big one, no? But they need a change from a bad situation or unpleasant situation to a better one. And the topics are all different. They may be community-based. In this case, it is very community and culture-based, and others might be ecological, and those categories are explained on the Green Destinations website. The competition is starting, so if you are interested in joining 2023, go there and take your chance. I'm handing now over to Alexander and Ivana in North Macedonia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi from rainy and still weirdly hot for this time of the year, Macedonia. We're praying for snow soon. Okay, so something that I think is worth mentioning is that a project by USAID, EDGE, it's supporting some of the activities that Balkan Green is doing recently, and I think it's worth mentioning them as supporters for now. And I would, watching Jana's presentation now, I would really like to see us in near future having this kind of successful stories and experiences to share with other destinations. In Macedonia, for now, we've been working with municipality of Evčani, which is a very interesting destination that is near the Ohrid Lake. And it's a very interesting and really unique community. Somehow in cooperation with the Swiss Development Agency and Pharmachem and Macedonian Ecological Society, and activities as part of one bigger project that they had there, they recognized that sustainable tourism is the way to protect this area. And develop together with the local community, sustainable ways of doing tourism. So last year we started working on this a bit more enthusiastically, if I can say, and we got recognized in the top 100 in the nature and scenery category. Which was a great recognition and a push for the local community and for the municipality. A lot of challenges, honestly, because of the capacity of the municipality and the local community, etc. But for now, I think that we are moving good. And also we're recognized. Then the next year we should be working on a bigger number of criteria for the destination. So we are developing some kind of an action plan for the municipality, and we are working on a business level with a couple of the businesses from the destination who recognize throughout the Good Travel program that they want to develop to sophisticate their businesses in a more sustainable manner. So we are now creating with them, working on the criteria, but also developing some, if I can say, like green experiences in the municipality where these businesses are together in one touristic product. For this spring, we're hoping to launch these green experiences, and also meanwhile we have a couple of few more municipalities and destinations who are interested in this concept. So we are hoping also that this kind of approach can also bring other destinations and businesses in the whole process. And actually expose them to the sustainable way of developing things, and give them, if I can say, like a plan of how they, because usually these are the challenges. People understand that this is the future, and I'm talking at least for Macedonia, but they don't have the clear steps of how they can go further. So these are simple steps, but for them are really like game changing, because now they know what they should do, on a destination level, on a business level, so also looking for supports or different donors. They're investing money. So we think that this is a good way how to expose all of them on the criteria and what it means to be sustainable, as this is a long-term process. It's a marathon, it's not a race. So, this is what we have currently for North Macedonia. And I wanted to mention another thing that I'll finish with this one, which I saw that it can work wonderfully. The Tivat Tourism think tank that was organized in Tivat by Kirsi and Tivat. We came there. We were part of the think tank with a couple of also people from destination from Evčani, but also some of the businesses came along. And I think it's a good way when you share experiences, when you connect the people, and they see that the challenges that they're working with are very similar in the region, and so they can exchange experiences, talk about it, and support each other. Just I think that it brings. I think that this is also one of the big points of Balkan Green, is also connect experiences and people and destinations in the region, so they can work together, stronger and more experience. And I think that events like this one, and also webinars like this one, and this communication between the stakeholders involved in the whole process is really important. So I think we should continue doing this even stronger.
Yes, Alexander, and I will jump in quickly and just mention that next week on the 25th, we will have our next connection with the tourism organizations, destination managers, whoever wants to join that one as a webinar to look at the Green Destination Standard and what we are working with. And the next day, 26th, we will continue with the SAS tour companies with another webinar. But then are we ready to hand over to Terena, to Albania, right? Or? I guess so, no? Let's see. Let's see what's the next slide. Yeah, I think it's Albania. There we go.
Albania. Yes. Hi, me again. So we're each giving an experience example from our country. So I want to preface a little bit by saying that Albania is getting we are getting a lot of tourism growth. We're one of the fastest growing rebounding tourism sectors on global lists this past year. Also, certain destinations are getting a lot of attention, like the Vjosa River, for example, and some of our wonderful natural wild places are getting attention, which is great. But as far as the GSTC standards and sort of the reason that we're talking today, there are still some challenges in Albania. So in addition to managing spoonbill nest as part of Balkan Green to work on sustainable tourism, I'm also the sustainability coordinator for Elite Travel Group. And Elite Travel Group was the first Travel Life certified tour operator here in Albania and in the Western Balkans, actually. And it's quite a challenge. It was quite a challenge to meet those GSTC criteria. It was not easy. I will say that it took us a while. We did it during the pandemic, which might have made it take a little longer. It was a challenge, but it was a worthwhile challenge. We're very proud of our accomplishments in that area. And we almost immediately decided, as part of our goal to sort of pay it forward, that we would start coaching and trying to get other people involved. And it just happened that the sister program came along about that time. And I believe, just in Albania, we are coaching over about 12 tour operators between the two coaches at our company. And I know throughout the Western Balkans in the sister program, we're coaching 30 something. I don't have the exact number right now, upper 30s between all of the Balkan Green memberships that are coaches. So we have decided to focus on, in Albania for now, we're focusing on the business sector. One of the reasons for that is that we don't have DMOs in Albania. So approaching destinations or municipalities can be a challenge. They don't have the infrastructure usually to support tourism without business support. So we try to get the business, we try to approach the businesses first usually and get the businesses working together. I know there are some projects. I see someone actually that's in attendance tonight that's working on one of those projects to try to work with businesses and municipalities to try to fill the gap left from the lack of DMOs. So we've been very business focused. Good travel program and the Travel Life program. And I will say that there is a large and growing community of tour operators in Albania, and I want to include Kosovo here as well. So because we do represent both countries, that are interested in sustainable tourism, that do want to see this be the direction that tourism develops for Albania. And they are committed and dedicated, and they put a lot of time, energy, and effort into trying to make sure their businesses are making the right decisions and their supply chain is making the right decision. And it is a challenge, but I think the future's bright. We have finally had our first destination, sign up for green destinations in Albania. That's the municipality of Belš. So we're just getting started with them, but we hope to have them in that top 100 list for next year, or I guess it's this year now, for the top 100 story. They've got some ideas, and but they're just starting their journey, and they're very excited. So I think there are bright things ahead for Albania. Again, like I said, there's been a lot of effort put into things like creating the national park for the Vjosa River and everything. So I think if we focus on the criteria and educating the people about the criteria, particularly on the business side, I feel like in Albania, maybe it's slightly different than the rest of the Balkans. The businesses are really the driving force. They really see the benefits of sustainability, and they would like to see that be the direction of tourism development here. So if we can keep that energy going and get some more support for it, I think that we're focused in a good direction. That's all I have. Who's next? Here's you're muted. Oh, Chiri. Where are you, Chiri?
If Thierry is not with us, killed by the storm, I hope not, but maybe then if Snezana can jump in. We have another like 10 minutes to go, but not with the presentation. We want to have your questions also to discuss now. So yeah, is Thierry online, or shall we?
Thierry is online, but for some reason we don't seem to hear him.
Yeah, that's the thing, no? Would you like to jump in, Snezana? Then
Thierry, can you just try making a sound one more time? No.
Making
Okay,
a sound.
for some reason, yeah,
Not
for some
happening.
reason his sound doesn't work.
Yeah, okay. Storm over. Okay. We'll continue. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah, let me quickly just wrap up where we are in here in Bosnia and Herzegovina. As the slide says, it's the city of Trebinje that really leads the effort. It's a small town in the southwestern part of Bosnia and Herzegovina that is very well positioned because it's surrounded by 3 UNESCO sites: Dubrovnik in Croatia, Kotor in Montenegro, and Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Still, Trebinje has been, really known in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but immediate surroundings as well, as a food produce site, and it's a first slow food destination in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It has been experiencing, again, saying because of its position, it has been experiencing an increase in a number of guests. But somehow the connection between those, growing numbers and the local kind of tradition and produce initially was not there. This ended in, relatively short visits to Trebinje itself, and very low interaction with local population, and very low spending levels in Trebinje itself. This started changing some 3 or 4 years ago. In 2019, Trebinje embarked on mobilizing its agricultural producers, opening up the dialogue both within the agricultural producer groups and with tourism, and following the cooperation models and discussions and joint efforts. The link was created between the agricultural producers and tourism offers. So the tourism service providers and accommodation providers were giving more space to the local produce, and thus also allowing people to interact with local population and learn more about local traditions. This culminated in the establishment of Herceg House, which is the story that gained Trebinje not only inclusion in the top 100 for 2021, but also the winner in the local supply chain category. And Herceg House now brings together over 120 cooperants from the agriculture world and kind of offers over 500 products to tourists and visitors to Trebinje, and has 3 stores currently, 1 in Trebinje and 2 in Banja Luka and Sarajevo. Now, what is important to say is that Trebinje is not stopping there, and I'm kind of referring back to saying this is the process. This year, Trebinje has actually entered the Nature Park Orion, who have been accepted as a top 100 destination for 2022. And Trebinje continues. So we expect that in the next couple of years, Trebinje will reach the bronze level. So following Tivat as the leader in the region. What I want to mention is that in Bosnia and Herzegovina, beyond Trebinje, we have another destination that was top 100 in 2021. That is Dinardika, and both of them continue through the certification process. And we have currently 3 other destinations that are in preparation to enter this year. As well as some 10 businesses that are going for the Good Travel program. So, well, if we can move to the next slide, just a note to all of us, but also to everyone else who's embarking on this process. You know, we kind of plan all these cycles that they're going to go through their normal, through their normal kind of pace and keep going upwards. In reality, as we all know, the things kind of don't go that straight line. They seem to be going all over the place. So Jana keeps reminding us that it's important to keep the big goal in sight and continue working toward it, that we will get to it eventually. So with that, I think we are finishing up the presentation. We did have a small video that we wanted to share with you, just that communicates partly how we see ourselves as a region.
Yeah, we can finish with that film, but I would say, Tiffany, if there are questions, hands raised or anything, we could take them in before.
Yeah, I agree. So I think we can jump into or ask us anything. If you have a question, feel free to ask in the Q&A box, or if you would like to ask by voice, you can raise your hand and we will unmute you. I did see one during the presentation, but
I možete i na vašem jeziku. So if you are not firm in English, but we would like to speak your language, be it this that I tried or the others, then just go ahead. We can talk with you. Anything. Making the world a better place is not easy, and it needs all of you here on this webinar and way more people to join this effort, which is not a project but a process, and in that sense never ending.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see. Let's get started. So let's get started with asking the entire group. It's obvious the advantages of coming together as Balkan Green, and with each of you in different countries and a different state of sustainability and political context. What are the main challenges that you've been able to address together since coming together and since the development of Balkan Green?
I can think of one immediately. I think it is this very systematic way of working with the standards, and which definitely is radically changing the way people work together and also monitor their work and are able to, communicate and follow up the results that they reach. I call it the institutional memory, and that is way too much missing in all our countries, in our institutions. And so these logics and the ability to continue work, even if a person changes, that is of value. That's my perspective. Anybody else?
I would also add that, maybe not as a challenge, but as a value is actually the ability to learn, not only we as a group, obviously, but also the ability to bring our destinations and our businesses together and have them exchange the experiences as well. Because, certain kind of nuances is only a business will understand to business, or destinations kind of understand. If we're talking to the tourism organization, they understand the relationship with their local municipality or local government maybe a little bit better than what we would understand. So having the ability for them to pass on the experience to each other is also, I think, a great benefit, because they very often turn, once they meet, they turn to each other to ask questions rather than going through us.
Yeah.
I second that. Here in Montenegro, it is not only Tivat working on this system by now. We have now Kotor, Ulcin, Cetinje, and Budva further municipalities who then profit from the experience of everybody here and of Tivat, obviously. So yeah, that multiplication effect or snowball effect, we would hope it to be. Anybody else? There's a hand raising. Fedja.
We do have a hand raise. All right, I will
Fedja
unmute you.
Begovic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Wonderful webinar. And it's been a while since I attended one, so I almost forgot how it feels, but good to be physically present and meet people. I do want to ask a question or maybe just raise a question. I heard something that was interesting to me from Albania, which is that the businesses are driving the process. And I think also from Slovenia, that was one of the lessons I picked up, that businesses are very eager to participate. Yet from my experience in Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's not often the case. And I think the major challenge for this is that they tend to see only the cost behind the certification process and introducing a standard, as opposed to the benefits, from this process and from networking and connecting in such wonderful initiatives like this scheme is, and also some of the other mechanisms like Transdinarica and other things. So how can we do a better job in promoting the benefits and motivating more businesses to join this process?
That's a great question.
I think it's $1 million question, and I think we all are questioning it the same, like also just shortly, to go back to Slovenia. Yes, we do have quite a lot of businesses but still only, I don't know, 10% of Slovenian accommodation is certified, to be, so we still also have the long way to go. It's not easy to get them on board, even though there is a number of incentives. And I think that products like tourism products, like for example Transdinarica is trying to do, and I think it is an approach which can be duplicated to other products as well, is that you do need to give them to give businesses also the vision that they will get an access to the market which they don't have at the moment. We are also when talking to sustainability, it's also always talking more or less about the values and things we need to do as a society and our obligation and so on. But I think it's also a legit question for the business saying, okay, I'm investing my money into this, what it is in for me also on the sales part. So it is something what we, and I think it's responsible also for initiatives like Balkan Green that we do dig into that and say, yes, okay, we understand and we know that this is very important part. So that's why, products like Transdinarica and others who are connecting and who will have as a vision, okay, we are building sustainable tourism through product development, saying, okay, if you want to be on this route, if you want to be promoted through it, you need to do your part. You need to get rise quality, rise sustainability. And I think then, they will start to understand, okay, I'm not in the picture. This is my ticket to ride. If I'm not there, I'm just not on the map. So things like that, I think, are really, really important. And those are the things which I think on the long run will be the ones who will make the difference.
Yes.
Can I also add something?
Go ahead, Alexander.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, the question was great by Fedja, and I think that the context is more or less similar in the countries, because we have I have the same feeling that you said, Fedja, for Macedonia also. And I also think that we also as Balkan Green, and as everyone, because, in order for this to succeed in the region and to really change, tourism for us, we all need to be part of this. We as Balkan Green, as few people who are working this, we cannot make a huge change by ourselves. People need to understand businesses, institutions, organizations, etc. So all the partners, because we all need to be part of this kind of process that needs to happen. But I also want to add something, by my knowledge, also for Slovenia that worked, because there was a top-down recognition and approach to this whole thing, which sadly in Macedonia we don't have it. I think is the similar case maybe in Albania, maybe in Bosnia, etc. I see some changes happening in Montenegro. I'm glad that I'm seeing them. Hopefully they're going to work. But I think that also we need to work together to raise the debate, to raise the awareness, to lobby, because government institutions, municipalities, central government, ministries, NGOs, DMOs, etc. They all need to be part of this process. And it's our job. We need to convince, to talk with them, to lobby there, because if they don't get it, if they don't become, because at this point in Macedonia they're not, so we don't have functional institutions in tourism. And I think that the case is similar in a lot of our neighbors here. If we don't change that, the whole process is going to be more painful, is going to be more frustrating, is going to take a lot of time, etc. So I think that this is also part of course, the bottom-up approach that we see businesses need to recognize, and what Jana explained, and this is the success with the businesses that we need to work on, but also we need to work on, with the institutions. The top-down approach is really necessary. It's really necessary. We cannot go without it.
Yeah, the tree with the roots needs the sunshine and the rain, no, to grow a healthy tree. Adding this, okay, what motivates businesses obviously is also the demand, and the demand figures. If you look at any of the last 2 years, Booking.com's global studies, for example, how do the numbers develop on sustainable tourism demand? That is the reason why they put the filter of sustainable management into their system. So it is not just a niche anymore; it's becoming a norm. And marketing tools such as the Good Travel Guide related with the Good Travel Program will be helpful. And we have launched our website today. It is still in its baby steps, but if you go later on to www.balkan.green, then you will see the first stories there already. And we will keep growing those stories of good businesses and good destinations. Any more questions? Because then we would just enjoy 2.5 minutes of a Balkan film. If I get it technically done here, I guess I can. Seeing any questions, Tiffany, or we could close it with
get started. Yeah, we can get started with a short video and we'll just close the web.
Okay. Yeah. I think I need to switch the screen and then also kind of stop sharing this screen to get to the right place. Just a sec. Okay. Stopping this and sharing another one, because otherwise we'll be in a different place. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself in a sec. So say if you don't hear a voice in a second.
There's no sound, Kirsty.
No sound so far, Kirsty.
No sound. Just a second. I think I need to fix something in my settings then so that you are better. Can't do it right here. Look, I will run it through my microphone, okay? That will be, because it's got these subtitles. No, enjoy the atmosphere. Okay.
Jer su korijeni čovječanstva samo jedno. Natura. Kdo? Nuklearno je.
Već više od potisnutih sukoba.
Ja, baš me tebe, za vsakого deškuje. Ovo je moja zemlja. Toga ja.
Gde more blagoslovi obalu.
Tamo gdje naša hrana je još uvijek organska.
Ove beskrajne planine su deo naše duše.
Ritem je vaš. Až ti vedno reči funkcionalno. Polako, polako. A vaš.
Като куптоем съждойджен из народя.
I felt astonished by you.
It's just left me speechless.
Also by the silence that evokes your best.
I can't forget the warm look of your feet.
Nor the impressive light around your neck. Бъдем мир.
I upamti kad dođeš.
Prihvatite to. Respektujte i čuvajte to.
Ne pokušavaj da je izmeniš.
Sjajajući po admirone, čuvaj Jersey.
That was it. Closing the film and just sharing once more our last slide, which has actually our contacts and our website on it, Balkan.green. Yeah, from our side, big thank you and really warm welcome to stay in touch. Like I said, 25th, we have a session webinar for our destination managers or the ones who want to become one. And on the 26th, the SAS tour companies will get their next session coaching.
Perfect. Thank you, Kirsty. Yeah, and with that, we'll just wrap this up. A big thank you to the entire Balkan Green team for coming together and sharing their insights with us today. There's definitely a really good sense of synergy and cooperation. It's really great to see. And just also, again, thank you to our participants for taking the time to join us. We hope you enjoyed today's session, and we hope to see you on another webinar. Our next webinar is scheduled for January 25th with Morgan Mingle, the Director of Sustainable Tourism at Visit Park City, and we will discuss Park City's Sustainable Management Plan. And just a quick reminder, the webinar has been recorded. You can find all the past recordings on our website. This will be open to the public and it will be available on the website, and I will be emailing the presentation in PDF in an email. And if you have any further questions, feel free to email us info@gstcouncil.org, and we can always pass it on to any of our speakers here today. And with that, just a big thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful day or evening.